Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Fairuza Kolbi Karima. I am from Biology Class C, and my student ID number is 2006 In this video, I will answer the final exam question for the Fiqh study course. Okay, first question is, how is the law for changing sex operation? My answer is, the law of changing sex is forbidden for someone who has the intention to change Allah's creation. However, genital surgery is also allowed if certain conditions are met. Prohibit sex surgery if a changing male sex to female or female sex being changed to male sex is haram. B. The person whose gender is changed, the legal position of the sex is the same as the original sex before the change. This sex operation is often carried out by waria. Contemporary scholars forbid a man or woman who is perfect in sex and undergoes a sex change in accordance with the argument in the Quran Surah Al-Hujurat, verse 13, which reads, A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum min dzakarin wa untha waja'alnakum syu'uban wa qabaila lita'arafu. Inna akramakum 'indallahi atqakum. Innallaha 'alimun khabir. Which means, oh people, in that we created you from a male and a female. Then we made you into nation and tribes so that you might know one another. Verily, the most honorable of you in the sight of Allah is the one who is most pious. Verily, Allah is all-knowing, all-aware. And the operation is allowed only if operation has multiple sex and to clarify the identity of the one sex and turn on the other sex organs according to the internal genital organs. The second question is, how is the law of mut'ah marriage? My answer is, according to the scholar of the Sunnah wal Jama'ah, namely Imam Syafi'i, Imam Hanafi, Imam Hambali, and Imam Maliki. The law of mut'ah marriage is forbidden because mut'ah marriage is a marriage that is only done for pleasure and lasts for a limited time, which have been specified. This law is contained in the Quran Surah Al-Ma'arij verse 29 until 31, which reads, A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Walladzina hum li furujihim hafidun illa ala azwajihim aw ma malakat aymanuhum fa innahum ghairu malumin. Faman ibtagha wara'a dzalika fa ulaika humul aadun. Which means, and those who guard their private parts, except for their wives or the slave they have, then in that they are not blameworthy in this matter. Whoever sex behind it, then they are the one who transgress. From the verse above, it can be concluded that sexual relation can only be carried out with a legal wife or slave, while the wife of a mut'ah marriage does not get this right because the iddah period is different from the Shari marriage. B. Do not inherit from each other. C. Mut'ah marriage does not make a woman a wife or slave. And the last D. Limit by time period. Third question is, how is the law on donor and transplantation of members or organs of the body to people in need? My answer is, in terms of organs transplants, the scholars have two opinions, namely that there are those who allow it and those who do not. Scholars do not agree with transplant because they think that humans do not have the right to transfer part of their body organs, even if it is in the form of gift. donation, and others, because humans are creation of Allah and nothing but Allah can create them. In Quran Surah Az-Zumar verse 26, which reads, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فأذاقهم الله الخزي في الحياة الدنيا والعذاب الآخرة أكبر لو كانوا يعلمون, which means, so Allah inflict upon them disgrace on the life of the world, and in that the punishment of the hereafter is greater if only they knew. The latter explain that there is a clear argument for wrongdoing in the event of an organ's misconduct as a transplant other than himself as a treatment or otherwise. Some of the reasons for the prohibition of organ transplantation are: 1. It is forbidden for anyone to damage or part of human organs in order to maintain the safety of his life and leave everything that causes damage. 2. Transferring another organs cause pain to the donor. 3. Moving organs if the condition of the donor is still alive will torture him. 4. Transferring one's others to another reduces human honor. So, if it is permitted to carry out a transplant when it is on the condition that no drug other than human organs are found, if the transplant is done without any reason and can endanger the food, is haram. Fourth question is how to deal different views in fiqh. My answer is the school of thought is a collection of mujtahid opinions in the form of Islamic laws, derived from detailed arguments. In a school, there are elements, namely, the school comes from a scholar, the scholar have different methods, and the school was born after there was a study of the Quran and Hadith. The difference occurs because Hadith history, placement of a French fatwa, placement of qiyas, understanding of the verse of Zamiyat, difference from individual madhab imams. Ikhtilaf means difference of opinions that occurs among scholars, breadth of school, mujtahid in understanding a syari that is used as a reference in determining the law. Ikhtilaf can only be in the realm of ijtihad. This difference in ikhtilaf can also be related to manhaj. Manhaj alone is a firm attitude that does not exaggerate or reduce a teaching. Among the mujtahids, it is not permissible to deny and not to reject the provision of other mujtahid. The current form of ijtihad is collective ijtihad, in which the mujtahid consult so as to produce laws or statutes. Imam Abu Nu'aym quotes Imam Sufyan al-Thawri as follows. Sufyan al-Thawri yaqulu idza ra'aita ar-rijal ya'malu amali alladhi qad ihtalaf fihi wa anta tara ghayra falat tanha. If you see someone doing an act that is still in dispute, even though you have a different opinions, then do not forbid it. So, what can be done is only that which clearly contradicts the Kanti and Ijma text. As for the Ijtihadiyah zone, it should be accepted with courage and not denying each other. And the last question is the law for the establishment of an Islamic caliphate. My answer is the last about the law for the establishment of an Islamic caliphate. The reality of the world's citizens today has been colored by the strengthening of ideologies, religions, ethnicity, and nationalism. Strengthening ethnic sentiment and religions is a very big factor, and that is what limits the course of the concept of the caliphate at this time. One of the First, I don't think the Islamic State is found in the Quran nor in the As-Sunnah. Therefore, there is no command in Islam for establish an Islamic State, which means is the whole country implement the Islamic ethos. After that, uphold social justice and product something egalitarian citizens for from human exploitation over any human being. It means that Islam has been viewed as a good country. What's the point of a country if it's just an empty formality? For all legal consideration, the establishment of the Islamic Khilafah is not mandatory or permissible because currently there are many Sharia teachings set in Islam. When it was established, the Khilafah Islamiyah will have an impact on the division between Muslim or serious myself. And also, in a country, there must be residents who adhere to a religion other than Islam becomes an obstacle in establishing the Khilafah Islamic. Maybe at this time, the implementation of the Islamic Khilafah can be applied, but not completely or only take part of the government system Islamic Caliphate. In accordance with the Quran Surah Yunus, verse 99. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Walau syaa rabbuka la'amana man fil ardi kulluhum jami'a afa anta tukrihun nasa hatta yakunu mu'minin, which means, and if your Lord will, surely everyone on earth would have believed entirely, so do you will forge people so that they become all believers. Okay, sorry if my answer is not good. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.